It's been 2 years since football fans have had the chance to enjoy their favorite draft tradition, the NFL Combine. The nearly week-long frenzy where the top draft-eligible prospects take part in on-field workouts and interviews to see if they can really separate themselves from the rest of the pack. So, who should you watch out for? And will any members of the 2022 draft class break any Combine records? Let's break it down. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Before we jump into the video, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. With 324 players invited to participate in the Combine, which will be held in Indianapolis as usual, there's going to be a lot to look out for as the draft hopefuls make their way through various athletic and strength tests like the 40-yard dash and the bench press, as well as position-specific drills. And this year's Combine feels especially meaningful, not only because the NFL has updated its drills to better simulate game-related movement, but also because there's no consensus pecking order atop the NFL draft boards. What we can say confidently, though, is that for just the second time since 2015, the first overall pick will not be a quarterback. Liberty's Malik Willis and Pittsburgh's Kenny Pickett are at the top of most people's draft boards at QB, but neither is widely projected to go in the first 5 picks. And it remains to be seen if they even retain their top spots after the Combine, with guys like Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder or Nevada's Carson Strong having the potential to make the jump. Meanwhile, Matt Corral, currently the third-ranked QB according to ESPN's Todd McShay, will not participate in the Combine due to an ankle injury he sustained during Mississippi's Sugar Bowl loss to Baylor, which makes an already lackluster QB pool even more meh. Still, QBs will be getting the bulk of the attention because there's no bigger steal in football than a solid starting quarterback on a rookie deal. Corral isn't the only big name missing the Combine, though. LSU cornerback Derek Stingley Jr., the projected 8th overall pick, is expected to miss the Combine due to injury, while Alabama's Evan Neal, a 6'7", 350-pound offensive lineman who could end up being the top pick in the draft, will not participate in workouts. That one's a real shame because Neal's ridiculous athleticism would have been one of the bigger draws of the Combine. I mean, just look at this. With Neal sitting out, all teams looking for offensive line help will turn their attention to NC State's Ikem Ekwonu. Standing at 6'4", 320 pounds, the quick-footed lineman could significantly improve his draft stock in Indianapolis. And according to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, he's already turned some heads with the Jaguars, who have the first overall pick. Meanwhile, at receiver, there are tons of guys who stand to lose or gain some ground this week. Arkansas's Treylon Burks is one of the most athletic players in the draft, and despite weighing in at about 230 pounds, he was clocked at 22.6 miles per hour on a 91-yard touchdown grab against Georgia Southern last season. All eyes will be on him for the Combine's main event, the 40-yard dash. Burks will be in good company, though. Memphis's Calvin Austin and North Dakota State's Christian Watson are both speedsters who can explode with the best of them. Will any of these guys be able to beat John Ross's 2017 time of 4.22 seconds, the fastest 40 since they started using an electronic clock back in 1999? That remains to be seen. In any event, there's a lot on the line for the top receivers at the Combine. Justin Ross, who notched 1,000 receiving yards last year at Clemson, and Georgia's George Pickens, who was in the conversation for best receiver in the draft before he tore his ACL last spring, will both surely have a lot to prove. As for the player at the top of most people's draft boards at receiver, Drake London out of USC, he also needs to show up in order to retain his lofty status. It isn't just offensive stars showcasing their abilities at this year's Combine, though. There is a lot of eye-popping talent on the defensive side of things as well. Minnesota's Boye Mafe stole the show at the Senior Bowl, and his physical tools are enough to make you want to see how much he can bench. Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson, a projected top 3 pick, and teammate David Ojabo are both going to go off too, with Ojabo standing to open the most eyes, especially in the 40-yard dash, where he's expected to run a sub 4.60, putting him in elite company. Meanwhile, Oregon's edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau, who was a top recruit coming out of high school, is still projected to be a top 5 pick in the draft 3 years later. Thibodeau is long and quick off of the line, and his stride and acceleration make him a dark horse for having the best time in the 40-yard dash. And even still, after all those names, there are more than 300 prospects that I didn't mention. Any one of them has a chance to shine and up their draft stock and potentially even break some records. So, what do you think? Who are you most looking forward to seeing work out? Let us know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.